Hello everyone, Maria Trusa and
Gina Capelli
with Reflect and Reset with Maria and Gina, your favorite show, every Wednesday afternoon, live show. We have a lot to talk about today, and we don't have any guests, it's just the two of us, but just the two of us are going to give you so much information. And Gina, people are probably wondering, what am I doing with scrubs? You want to tell them?
I'm wondering what she's doing with scrubs. No, to be quite honest, we do whatever it takes in our company to make sure that we are operating as efficiently as possible and making sure that everybody's getting the customer service that you need. So Maria, our CEO, has been acting as a medical assistant
and director of operations.
And director of operations for the week, since our director of operations, Michelle, is away for this week. But it's a good thing that we talked about with her getting involved, because you were able to see areas that might need a little bit more workflow with everybody, so we can get people seeing better, quicker, more efficiently. And so to have our hands in it like that, you've taken it to a totally different level, because you're doing it. You're not just hearing from people, you're actually experiencing it. So why don't you...
Yeah, and I tell you, Gina, it's been truly an amazing experience. I didn't expect that I was going to get so much out of these 3 days when it came to really understanding our mission, the work that we're doing for our community. Because I take the time to connect with the staff, number one. So, I had lunch with the staff. We've been
in the lunchroom.
In the lunchroom with everybody. And even today was really cute. Nayeli from our front desk, she said, can we take a picture on Friday, all of us, with you, before you go back to your CEO position? And because we are so humble that you are coming to work with us and giving us the support that we need. So from the staff perspective, it's been incredible.
Yeah.
But from the patients, so I go in and I talk to the patients, and they don't know who I am. Some of them, the ones that know me, obviously, they're shocked that I'm drawing their blood, because this is something that I've been doing for so many years. But the ones that don't know me, and when I go and say, what can we do better? Are we giving you the service that you need? Are you happy with us? And people are like a little shocked.
And why are you asking me?
That you're asking that question. And I tell them, we really want to make a difference in our community, in our patients' life. So we need to know.
Yeah.
And they're happy, Gina.
But that should be everybody's goal.
Everybody.
Every one of our people that touch those patients should go out and say, what can we do better?
What can we do better? And so it's been amazing.
Yeah.
I realized, working with the doctors and our nurses and everybody has been amazing. We have an amazing team.
We do.
And but we can tweak things, because always we could do things better.
Always.
So for me, it's been totally humbling. And I was telling Nayeli in the front staff, I was saying how humility is something that we should never lose, because ultimately I come from nothing, and I've built myself, and you have built yourself. Even like you come from a family that your father built himself. But the humility is something that you have not lost, and I will never lose, because I never forget where I come from.
Right.
And we are human beings before anything else. And I think people actually that become very wealthy and very, famous, sometimes they lose that humility, and they become unhappy, because humility allows you to connect with humanity.
I think in my case, it's the struggle of being where everybody else is in the family. So when you have a father that achieves so much, you want to make sure that you follow in their footsteps and that you don't fall behind. So there's we both feel the humility of trying to succeed and to be better than be the best you can be. But
going now from humility to motherhood, boy, I mean, you need to keep your humility there. So we decided to talk about motherhood this month, because it's Mother's Day, and let's dedicate the whole month of May to mothers out there. And being a mother is definitely, for me, the biggest responsibility, the biggest job that I've had.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people can relate to that.
It's funny, my little one is not little anymore. She's 29, getting married, and you think that your responsibilities have ended, but they never end. And that's the beautiful part, is that she's always your little girl. She'll always be my little girl, and she always needs me. And maybe not as much as Natasha needs you, because she's 11. But you know, I went through those stages as you did with your boys, and they have to come first. You know, and any person that's in your life, because you're single, to bring somebody into your life, they have to understand that they can't come first. Your child has to come first. And for a mom to juggle that, work, a relationship, you know, that's really all I can say is, you know, you have to applaud the women who are juggling so many balls.
I mean, you work, and a lot of women nowadays, I mean, it's not like the old days, you know, our parents, our mothers did not work, they stay home. That has changed, and that definitely brings so many challenges. I'm amazed of the work that women actually are able to do, because you think about it, you know, I see it even with my daughter-in-law. She has 2 babies. I mean, she has a full-time job. She goes in, she picks up the babies, then she has to feed the babies, she has to bathe the babies, she has to get them ready for the next day, and then she might have to continue working and be a wife. I mean, my God, it's so much.
And you know, and not to put aside women that stay home, because that in itself is a task. Because, you know, 24 hours, you know, with the children and taking care of their needs and your family's needs, and, you know, you forget about yourself. And we always said, you know, if we're not healthy, the whole family kind of seems a little unhealthy. You know, it's the mom is the nucleus.
We are the nucleus. And I can tell you that I was a single mom for 17 years, and you were a single mom for 26 years. Take a look at this. I mean, this is amazing. And I feel very proud of the work that I've done as a single mom. But, you know, I mean, I always talk about, I had Gloria, so Gloria definitely, I have to give her credit. So if you have a team of people that are working with you, that's very important. But taking care of you, it's something that a lot of women forget to do. And we said that on the video for Mother's Day. I remember, you know, for many, many years, I had my Tuesdays. So every Tuesday, I would go and do a bubble bath, and I would tell my kids, if they knew I was unavailable for 2 hours, and I would take a glass of wine and candles, and I would get a book, and I would be reading for 2 hours, and nobody would disturb me. And I found that every week I look forward to having that time with me. What did you do for yourself?
Nothing. You know, I really think about it, really nothing. You know, I really, and still am, a kid at heart. You know, I always played with my daughter. And I think my private time, my quiet time was actually when she went to bed. You know, which I would have to go in the bed with her when she was younger and lay with her until she fell asleep. But, you know, I don't think I ever did much of that. You know, mine was more of, once she went to sleep, I would just settle into my room and, you know, either read or catch up on work or do something. But no, I wasn't much of a bad person.
Well, like everybody, we just want to make sure you're doing something for you. Whether it's going for a run, walk, whatever it is. Well, she doesn't like exercising, so we know that. But it is important to realize that you are the most important person, and even when it comes to your mental health, your mindset, your mindset is actually the mindset, think about this, that you are creating for your family, your children. And that is a powerful thing to recognize. So you need to figure a way out that if you're not in the space that you want to be, if you're not happy, then you got to figure out what do you need, what actions do you need to do to be able to be happy. Because let me tell you, and I know that you might be thinking, well, I'm acting, you know, my kids don't know. that I'm unhappy.
They feel it. They feel
The
it.
energy is felt.
Yeah.
They know when you're anxious. They know when you're not happy. And you got to do whatever you have to do to be able to take care of your mind. So it could be that you might need to go and see a psychologist, depending on your level of unhappiness.
Yeah.
I know I've been to a psychologist. My God, I did 6 years. And you know, Gina, for me, when I started seeing a psychologist, I realized how broken I was when I had Franco, my first child. And I said to myself, my goodness, if I don't do something, I am going to mess up this kid's life.
Yeah.
And Jeffrey was born, and that was it. I really took it to another gear, and I didn't care that I didn't have the finances. Like, I found a way to cut my budget so that I could afford to go and get help, because I was so afraid of what I was doing to my kids.
You know, you said a perfect thing. When you need help from someplace else, and you say, well, I would, but I can't afford it. There are always ways to find what you need. I mean, I don't care. You don't have to go see a $300, psychologist. There are social workers that are more expensive, that are less expensive. But you can't make the
There's
excuses.
psychotherapists.
The excuses have to stop.
Yes,
Yeah.
There's group therapy that you can do. There's different ways to figure out. Listen, we talk about the books.
Yeah.
I actually just recommended the book of the week, which is the Parenting from Inside Out. And I love that book. You know why? Because it talks about how your father and mother, how they parent you, and how without you realizing, you're making the same mistakes.
Yeah.
But we have this dark side of us, in this blind side of us, that is driving, and many times we don't even know. And the book, for me, it brought up a lot of things that I realized that, wow, I am, with Natasha, is a girl. I raised 2 boys. And I also felt a little bit that there's been a difference for me of learning the things that my parents or my mother did that I was doing with Natasha as being a little girl. But you see, you recognize what is affecting you. You recognize first that there is something that is not right. That's something that you're not happy.
Well, that's key.
Yeah.
You have to recognize it.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of times you're like, well, it's not me. It's my daughter.
Yeah.
It's because my daughter's so difficult, and my daughter was difficult. She had terrible 2s, 3s, 4s, 5s, 6s, 7s, and I tease her. And I even told Maria this. I said, I had difficult times with her when she was younger. She was very hard to handle. And it wasn't until she was around the age of 12, I'd say 13, a light switch changed in her. And she became this great child. But all my excuses for her behavior was because Erica was difficult.
Yeah.
And it was never my fault. I did nothing to provoke this. Meanwhile, now you have to look at it and say, okay, I'm sad, I'm depressed. Why? People think there's reasons outside of themselves that makes them like that. And the truth of the matter is, I could have prevented a lot of those years with her, the difficult years, if I just looked at me. Yeah. If I looked deeper at me. And people don't do that.
That's the problem.
And I'm learning this now, and she's 29 years old. So...
But it's never too late.
No, of course not. Because I'm going to have grandchildren one day.
Yes.
But it's a little different, and I'm hoping she can learn from my mistakes.
Yeah.
Awareness is key. Yeah,
definitely. It's like you were saying, a lot of people are going through life without really stopping to say, what am I doing?
What can I do better?
What can I do better?
Right.
And that limits you, and it limits your growth. Because like you say, we can find excuses. I was doing the same thing with my daughter. I was blaming my daughter. And when I realized, having a conversation with 3 people that to me are people that love me. And when I heard the same theme from them, that they're telling me, you're really being rough with Natasha. It's you're riding her hard. You need to figure out a way. When they told me that, let me tell you, I completely took it different.
But you could have said, it's not me.
Yeah.
No, I'm not.
No, she's being difficult. You know,
Right.
you don't understand. That's
You
Natasha.
Right. You could be argumentative and adversarial and say, nope, it's not me.
And I stopped.
Right.
And I redirected myself. And that's where I started. For 5 weeks, all my books were about parenting. And the book, I told you the story with the book that it was about playful parenting.
Yeah.
And I can tell you that book, when I read it, I realized, I'm like, oh my God, I don't play with my daughter. I don't know how to play with a child.
Oh, that's where I kid. That's where
Yeah,
I
look,
I'm a big kid, and I love kids, and I love playing with kids. And my friend Claudia on the other side of the camera could tell you that I adore her boys.
I know.
I love her boys, and they love me back because I'm like a kid.
You're like a kid.
We go to dinner, I engage with them, I sit with them, I talk to them, I listen to them, I play with them, and it's so important, but that's who I am. Like, I've always been a kid like that. And being able to play with kids like Sebastian and Tomas is like, you know, they're a breath of fresh air for me because they're, you know, I love them so much.
That's how you connect with kids. I mean, their language is a playful language because they haven't learned, you know, how tough life could be. So it's more about what can I get away with, you know, what can I, and it's a playful way of communicating. So I didn't do that with my daughter.
Yeah.
But listening to this book, it was like turning my light switch. I am doing it, and I told you, and I've said this before, how that night that I was playing with her, I was hysterical laughing, and she was hysterical laughing. I was so happy, but I gotta tell you, when she went to sleep, I cried. I said, wow, my daughter is 11 years old, and this is the first time I remember laughing hysterical with her. And it hasn't stopped. We are actually making time to laugh, and I am a lot lighter with her. But it took me recognizing that something was not right.
Well, it took a lot of people to say.
It took people
it's
to
you.
say,
stop it. Look what you're doing. Look what you're doing. Look. And it's not just one person, because sometimes when one person says it, you'll think it's just a negative energy coming from one person. But you had multiple people telling you this.
Yeah.
And
I listened.
Yeah.
And they got me together, you know, at the same time. And this is, and by the way, I consider myself an amazing mother. Because one thing that I know is that I am the best mother that I could be. But that doesn't mean that I am the best. And what you have to do, though, is always be curious. Be very, very curious. Could I be better? And what am I doing that I'm bringing from my past with my children? And I mean, I've built an amazing relationship with my children, but I know I've made mistakes, and we have the conversations. I have the conversations with my boys about the things that I contributed that were negative.
But they're old enough to tell you the negativity.
Yeah.
They're old enough to say, I don't like when you did this, or they didn't feel like you were there, or whatever the case was. Natasha's only 11.
Yeah.
So she's not able to express, although she's 11
Oh.
going on 30. But
Yeah.
but she's not able to express it like they can now.
Yeah.
You know?
Absolutely. You know, it's you're saying with Natasha, I realize the impact that we as parents have without even knowing. So what I'm seeing Natasha now is that, number one, we're a lot lighter with each other. We have a lot more fun.
Mm-hmm.
But she's also getting to be a little señorita.
Mm-hmm.
And Natasha's turning, 12, in 6 months.
Yeah.
It's like, and I see the growth in her. But she comes up with things that are things that I do. And I'll give you an example on when I went to my mother's to her 1 year anniversary, and Natasha knew that was very hard for me, and she could see that I was very sad. And at the airport, I text you the quote that she sent me. My 11-year-old daughter sent me a quote in a motivational video, and it says something like, when you feel like stopping, remember why you started.
Right.
And I'm like, what? It was it blew me away.
Maria's the one that sends all the motivational videos and quotes. So.
Yeah, so every morning in my routine,
well, she's learning.
And she's learning this. So every morning, Natasha has seen when I'm getting her breakfast ready, I am listening to a motivational video because I'm very big. I believe in feeding my soul positivity every morning. So you can feed your soul negativity because we wake up in the morning and many times we're thinking negative thoughts.
Oh God, what's going to happen today?
Yeah.
Oh God.
Or you're anxious about the day before, or
yeah.
you know.
Or I have to see somebody today, or how am I going to handle something?
Right.
Yeah.
So to be able to shift for a minute and listen to a motivational video, and I mean, I do meditation. She sees me meditate. She does meditation. She's always listening to me talking to other people, and she's becoming a little me.
You know, with the motivational video, I think that, and the quote, I think she sees the response that you get from people.
Yeah.
And she hears like, wow, thanks for that quote today. And she's learning the positive results that she wants. And she got it, right?
Yeah.
She sent you something that was effective for you. She learned that, and she got that back from you. Like, you were touched. You sent it to everybody. Like, oh my God, look what my daughter sent.
I was really blown away by it. But you know, in picking something that you can connect, like I'm connecting with her with the singing. I love to go to her singing practice and all of that. So it is important that we find ways of connecting with our kids that is authentic, like something that you really could do together that you enjoy, because if you're faking it too, they pick it up. Its energy is picked up by them. So I mean, there is as far as parenting and working, I mean, this is a serious.
I did it all my life.
Yeah.
I mean, I actually left my job to have my daughter, and thought I was going to take a week off and prepare, and had her the next day. So I had no time to prepare, but had her the next day, and I was back in work because I didn't breastfeed, and I was back at work the following week.
Yeah.
Because my job at that time with my family was running, 3 million square feet of office space, and they couldn't do it without me. And at that time, you couldn't work remotely from home. It's not like I could have my computer and work remotally. So,
she's aging herself.
Well, I had a computer, but it wasn't as simple.
Yeah.
So I had to go in, we had the files and all that kind of stuff. It's not as electronic as we are today.
Yeah.
So I didn't really get a chance to stay home.
And that is something, that we sacrifice, because I had the same story with my kids, but especially with Natasha. Same thing.
Yeah.
I was having Natasha, I prepare everything in the office, and I was going to be induced the next day, and then 2 weeks later, I'm back at work.
Yeah, right.
And it is,
But now they're taking, 12 to 16 weeks, moms?
Yeah.
Which I think is a good thing. I'm very pro that they're able to, to be able to bond with their child for 16 weeks.
Right. But, people say, how do we create a balance between motherhood and work? Well, I got to tell you that, I believe that you're never in full balance. There is no full balance. You're going to, what we want to do, and I know for me, this is personally, I'm saying, I know that there will be weeks that I'm off balance because of work is needing me more.
Right.
Then I try to make it up the following week and be able to be with my daughter or my kids or my grandkids, in creating that balance, but understanding that you're never going to be in balance.
No, but you
completely.
have to know that it's not, work comes first. Natasha will understand. And you have to remember, Natasha's not going to understand because this is her time. And just like it was my daughter's time. And I have to tell you, when I have conversations with Erica now, she remembers that I wasn't home a lot.
Yeah.
She remembers I was working all the time, but she does remember that every night she had a home cooked meal. I didn't care what time I came home. I made dinner and had dinner made for her. She never ate, no McDonald's, nothing like that. My daughter, we ate nothing like that. But she always had a home cooked meal. And that was our time. At dinner time was always our time. She'd sit with me in the kitchen. She'd do her homework as I'm cooking. and we would have dinner together, always.
Yeah.
And then we'd have the evening together, because once I got home, I cut the cord with work.
But you were giving her that quality time.
Yes.
And I'm a true believer that it's not the quantity, but it is the quality.
Absolutely.
And I've had the good thing with me is I've been there. So I have a 34 and a 30. So now they're big boys, one with family, and I have a beautiful connection with my boys.
Yeah.
And they want to hang out with me, and we have gone through our rocky times together, but we make things, work, and we bond, and so whatever I did, and I was unavailable a lot, but I always make sure that whatever time I was giving them, it was quality time. I actually spend more time with Natasha now than I did with my boys.
But back then was different, okay?
Yeah.
You were single, which you are now, but you were not in a good place at that point.
Yeah.
You were trying to become something, you were trying to build a career. You were doing all this for them.
Yeah.
And now, in retrospect, they look back and they say, wow, how did you do it? You did that all for us.
Yeah.
Natasha gets you in a little bit differently because you've already made it.
Right.
And yes, we're still working very hard to make Formé successful, but you've still made
settled,
it.
Yeah.
You're going after a mission.
Yes.
But she knows that you're not striving to be this big career, get your career going. You already got your career going.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's the difference. The boys suffered from that, but they see it now and understand because you did it for them.
Yeah. Oh, it's beautiful. So messages that I think are important, to take from let's summarize sort of our Facebook Live. I think it's important to understand, number one, that you want to try to do the best you can, but you will never be perfect. In that there will be weeks that you might feel, am I a good mother? You might question that. I think every mother out there, if they tell you that they don't question themselves with, am I a good mother? Their people are not being authentic, because
But I'd like to introduce somebody to who I think is a really good mom.
Yes.
Come here.
Come over here, Claudia.
I have to tell you, and this is Claudia. This is the mom of the boys I tell you that I truly love, and I think that you are we're gonna go for a couple minutes, but I think you are truly an amazing mother.
Thank you.
You see it in the boys. You see how the boys love you.
Yeah.
Love you, and Sebastian wants to marry her. But he also wants to marry me.
He wants to live with me.
He wants to marry me too. And Tomas wants to marry me, but he wants to live with his mother, so I have to live with my mother-in-law. And when we were talking about this earlier, because we were talking about today's show, I said to her, your boys are just amazing. And they walk in, they come into my office to see me, and that's a product of you. You and your husband are like that.
Yeah.
Very loving. And so give us real quick your secret.
Well, I don't know, love, communication, and trying to find a balance is always hard, but we always try to listen to them and to give them positive attention as much as we can, right?
Right.
And it shows, Claudia, because your boys are very kind, very loving.
Yes, kind.
But that's who you are.
Yes.
And we
soft-spoken.
Soft-spoken.
And you and your husband are soft-spoken.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's our kids, and if we're seeing that our kids are not where we want them to be, we have to reflect on where are we.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think that's a message that's important to really. Let's not blame the kids. Like, let's understand, especially when they're little, because your boys are how old?
12 and almost 11.
Almost 11. So they are, when the kids are young, it's like you're driving them, you're shaping them. They're you. You're the one that they see every day. So a reflection of you, and you see it in your boys. And you're seeing it in Natasha. This is. So we need to really look within ourselves to be able to understand what are the actions and the behaviors that the kids are, presenting that, and the values.
Yes.
Absolutely.
On top of everything, like we always tell them like respect is first above everything. Everything, no matter what, respect everything.
Yeah. And it shows because they're extremely respectful. But so balance is difficult to create, but you're going to be off balance and imbalance. That's just the game that you're going to be playing for the rest of your life. It doesn't change. Okay. I think taking care of yourself.
Yeah.
What else?
And you know what? You should definitely take care of yourself. And this is, and we talked about this earlier too. Moms, you're the nucleus of the family.
Yeah.
Take care of your health. I mean, do something for yourself. Make sure you get your physical, get your mammogram, get your colonoscopy, get everything. Because you know what? If it's too late, and you wait too long, and all of a sudden it's too late, what are your kids going to do?
Yeah.
What are your kids? Because they depend on you.
Yeah.
And if you've done all that, and you just need time for you. We've extended our Formé offer to all the moms out there for the whole month of May. So come visit us, husbands, kids. Buy a nice facial for your mom. Come for yourself.
We love coming to Formé, and I mean, look at these beautiful faces. We all take care of our faces, and it's so nice. The men out there, if you're watching this, listen, buy a gift certificate to your wife or your girlfriend, and for them to come and relax, because our goal is, especially at Formé, like we want you to relax and not want to leave here, and it's time for you to recharge and reset and reflect
and reset.
So with that said, I think we've been reflecting and resetting a lot, and those are words that you really should use every morning. Get up and reflect and reset for your day. So hopefully this show has given you some tools that you could use and start practicing with your life and your children's life.
Yes. So
are we set?
We're set. So we're going to say goodbye to Claudia. So
Claudia is going
to stop the show.
We're going to stop the show.
Remember to like us and follow us on Instagram and just everywhere. Okay. Say bye.
See you next week.
Love you. Bye bye.